Welcome to Understanding and Adapting Life. Webinars and podcasts focusing on many ways we can live a fuller life by adapting and accommodating for issues, difficulties, and challenges we experience in our daily lives. So hello, everyone, and welcome to Networks for Training and Development Accessibility Series. Today's Think-A-Thon is going to focus on bedroom accessibility, and it will be led by Michelle Sparling. She's going to lead the conversation today. So feel free to chime in with any questions, ideas. If you have any problems that you want to have us all work together to solve for you, we can do that too. So take it away, Michelle.
Sounds good. Let's dive in. I broke down our conversation into two distinct areas. And my guess is they're going to kind of all mix together anyway. But if we could separate into two conversations around items or arrangements for a restful night's sleep. So if you think of your bedroom and you think of things that you might have in your bedroom, or those that you support, or those that you know or you love, or maybe it's the way the room is designed or where the furniture sits. How does that work for a good night's sleep? You know, a lot of it connects to our bed too, to sleep well, but there's a lot of other things too. So that's one part of the conversation we'll have to start with. And then the second part, we'll switch gears and take a look at items or arrangements to make your bedroom more convenient and accessible. So that's a whole other piece of what are some things, actual items, things you can purchase, or ways that we set things up so that it's more convenient and accessible. So does that make sense? And we'll just kind of go with the flow. Feel free to jump in at any point. You can use the chat box. You can just unmute yourself. We're a small group here, so just feel like we're having a conversation. So Nikita's going to help do some annotation on this slide. So let's just dive right in and have a conversation. So what are some things that you have now in your bedroom that help you to get a good night's sleep? Or it could be someone you love, or it could be someone you support. Anything in particular?
Darkening curtains.
Oh, great.
White noise or a sound machine.
I have a salt lamp that's on a timer that's on till I fall asleep, and then it turns off.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I think I have one of those in my house. We need to use it more. Bethany says in the chat, my husband would say his weighted blanket. How many of you have a weighted blanket? We have one in our house, but now it's too hot for me. So that doesn't help me get a good night's sleep anymore. What else?
Ceiling fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say too. I need that fan on.
Chris Rude said her TV.
Yeah, and many people sleep with their television on, right? Just to have background sound or music. I have to lower the temperature in my bedroom now every night. That is helping me tremendously. Nancy Jo, that's exactly, you said the same exact thing in the chat box. Thank you. We're alike there. How about cooling sheets? I haven't tried those, but I've heard they work well. I should probably invest.
I have them. I
Yeah.
have all bamboo sheets. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, and do they help?
They're amazing.
Mm-hmm. How about any particular kind of pillow?
Yeah, like a body pillow.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Support your knees and your back.
Good snuggling. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love my feather pillow because it's really soft and my head kind of sinks in it. But it's on top of another pillow that's a little bit more supportive.
I've tried so many pillows. And what I found is the most smushy ones are best for me. I've tried the heavier, thicker bamboo ones and they hurt my neck. So it's really an experiment trying to find the best pillow.
What about earplugs?
Oh,
Like drawn out people snoring next to you.
That's a good point. Yeah. How do you deal with a significant other that's in your room that might be a little bit noisy at night?
Or if your temperature's on a whole different clock there, if one person's hot, one person's cold. I've actually looked to see, because I was like, oh man, it would be really great. You really should have sheets where you could sew, like it's flannel on one side and regular sheets on the other side. And I could put a patent out on that. And I looked, and there's somebody on Etsy who's actually doing that. I'm
Really?
thinking of getting some. Because I like the cool sheets. My husband needs the flannel sheets.
And then just like having bedding that could be multi-purpose, there's adjustable beds that are very helpful for many people, that one side could be one firmness, the other side could be another, or you could adjust your side of the bed and the other side, your partner could have a different setting to the bed. They're all super helpful. Anything else?
I don't know if we're going to launch into it, but for somebody that I'm going to talk about a little bit later, she would not have been able to have a good night's sleep without knowing that she could easily get in and out of the bed when she needed to.
Yes, we are going to talk about that too, about their room arrangement to make sure that it's set up perfect for people. Yep, for everyone. I went searching for a number of different photos, and it was fun to do this. So I'm going to share some things, and maybe this will kind of help us think through some of the things that we already said, but they're kind of cool. Amazon is a wonderful place, as you all know, to find things. You can get things at really good prices. It's good to do a little searching when you're looking for something specific, but it's a good place to start, and then go do some research, look at other companies and see what you find. But so much is available on Amazon. There's lots of different options. Wedges are really popular. Memory foam is really popular. If you have specific physical needs with your body, you can find just about anything out there, right? So I just grabbed a few different interesting types of pillows. So it's good to experiment and see what works for you. Here's some bed options, which we know that there's so many different options out there today. If you just type in adjustable beds into Google, you'll see so many different things. But if you're working with, or you live with someone who uses a wheelchair, it's great to have that wheelchair seat be level with the bed itself. So as you can see in this picture, this guy is getting up off of the mattress so that he can transfer easily into his chair. So just something to think about. And what does that look like for everyone? Because it is going to be different for everyone. And there's so many options for box springs and no box springs and different types of firmness of beds, that it's really a whirlwind when you go out there exploring, looking for a new mattress, what the options are, and to try to figure out what works best for you, right?
Yeah, I think that easy solution of taking out the box spring and putting a mattress down on just like a board helps to lower the bed, because there's a lot of options for no cost adaptations that are easy to do.
Absolutely. And how about recliners? I've heard of a number of people that don't sleep well in a bed, but they sleep better in a recliner. And there's a number of reclining chairs on the market that are made now for people in that situation. So, and they range in price. I've seen $500 to a few $1,000s. So depending on what your needs are, you can find something. It's good too if someone maybe sleeps or naps a lot and they prefer to have a regular bed, and maybe they have an adjustable or not, but just to know that they're comfortable when they're taking their naps during the day. It's a good thing as well. And we mentioned the white noise machine. My grandson has been living with a white noise machine since he was born, and it's hard for me to listen to it. When I go into his bedroom, I turn it off right away. It's so loud, I feel, but he's been raised with it and it works for him, and he sleeps great with it. So it's good for many different people. How about aromatherapy? Some people may sleep better just to having that aromatherapy scent in the air. You can set it on low so it'll last throughout the night. It's fun to kind of practice, if you're into aromatherapy, the different scents and how they can help you to get a good night's sleep.
What's the most popular calming scent?
Lavender.
Lavender?
Mm-hmm. I have 3 oils that I use every night. Specific parts of the body, I refer to them nighttime oils every night.
Nice.
Just part of a ritual to get ready. Because that's the other thing that we didn't mention is having a ritual for sleep. Having a ritual for getting ready for bed is something that is often suggested to people who have trouble sleeping. Getting to sleep is having that ritual, building whatever works for you.
And watching the activities you do before you go to bed.
Absolutely.
Working with young children, I'm always telling parents, no sugar before bed, no bright lights and TV, no screen time, quiet snuggles and story time are best.
Absolutely. For all of us, not just
For
kids.
all of us, right? Snuggle and read.
Mhm.
Yep.
Cup of tea, warm tea, or something warm to drink, not caffeine.
Yeah. Chamomile tea. Yeah. Just picking some relaxing things to settle down from your day's activities. It does make a big difference. Yeah. Don't watch the news before bed, right? How about air humidifiers or dehumidifiers, depending on your environment? So I know in my house, we try to upstairs have air humidifiers, and in the basement, we have to have a dehumidifier. So we have both kind of going on. That helps with moisturizing or demoisturizing the air. Air cleaners can also help you. Should have added that to this slide, right? So having either a whole house filter on your heating system, air conditioning system, or having a room by room air cleaner can help with allergies, asthma, all kinds of things, but especially around, lungs and sinuses that kind of stop us from sleeping well at night. Anything else? And Bethany, you said you have cooling pillows. Chris, you watch YouTube before bed. And Nikita said, my humidifier is my best friend in the winter when the heat is on. Yes, because we get like dried out skin, dried noses, all that, right? Anything else? All right, well, let's switch and we can kind of make a combination conversation, whatever pops up. But think about convenience in the bedroom next. So what are some things that you have in your bedroom that make your space more accessible and convenient, either to you or those that you support or people that you live with, whatever it might be? What makes it convenient for you?
I just basic stuff. Clock that also plays music and is within arm's reach. Lights within arm's reach. Books to read within arm's reach. All of that stuff.
Awesome.
And I have the alarm clock that shines the time on the ceiling because otherwise I'd have to put my glasses on to look at the clock to know what time it was.
And I have the same thing, and I have a picture of it here too, just to look up at the ceiling and say, oh, okay, I don't have to get up yet. Yep.
I think the location of your bed in your room in regards to the bathroom is probably something to a lot of people kind of pay attention to too, because so that you have the most direct path, the least cluttered path to get to the bathroom in the middle of the night in the dark.
Mm-hmm. Chris said my phone and sometimes my tablet. Yep. And Andrea said your night light.
I have an under cabinet light in my bathroom that's motion sensitive because a night light was too bright for me. If I get up and stumble, the light kicks on for me.
That reminded me, Rosa, we used to have it. It was more of a gag gift and we used it for a while. Then I was like, I put it in my son's stocking. It was for the bathroom in the toilet. It was a light that would come on when you go and lift the lid at night. And it would have different colors to it so that you could see when you're going to the bathroom at night. So it might be a hot pink or a purple or a blue.
We have one because it was a guy gift.
So yeah, it's just a cleaning factor. I finally throw it out because I was like, yeah, I don't know about this. It sits on the edge of the seat, but it's kind of fun. It's, it's a kind of a silly thing, but it works. It does the job. Some other things could be, lower light switches for people who are using wheelchairs and any other type of device to get around.
I was going to mention for my mom, it was one of the big icebreakers was she didn't want any assistive technology in her place because she was afraid it was going to look ugly and be stigmatizing and all of that. But her biggest issue and the thing that opened up for lots of other possibilities was she was having great difficulty getting in and out of bed. She did not want bed rails. That was like the last thing she wanted or anything like that. So we found one of her very pretty armchairs and we backed it up to the bed, and she used that as a support to get in and out of bed. And it worked for a very long time. And then during the day, she could just swing it by the side of her bed and it just looked like a chair beside her bed. That kind of opened up adapting and accommodating all kinds of other things in her apartment for her. But that was the start.
Mm.
We recently assisted a family member in moving. He has some medical issues and he really needed a commode in the bedroom, but was absolutely opposed to it. And we actually found a commode that looks exactly like just a bedroom chair. And the seat picks up, and when you pick up the seat, there's the commode. And if he at some point doesn't need it, you take that insert out and it's just a chair again.
That's cool.
But it took forever, number one, to convince him, this was a possible solution. But then once he saw it and decided, the unfortunate thing is it has to come from England, so it's expensive. I figured the British will know this is the proper thing for it to look like in the bedroom. It does not have to look like a medical device.
That's awesome.
But he would not permit anything that looked like, and I can't blame him. He said, I want company to come over. I don't want him seeing that. My mom, when she was toward the end of her time, lost the track of was it day or night. And we actually found a talking alarm clock on Amazon. It was not expensive at all. And when it spoke, it would say, it's 3 o'clock, it's dawn. It would let her know what time of day, but it also, whether it was dawn, afternoon, evening. And that helped her so much get oriented to, oh, okay. We thought it was amazing.
Yeah, there's so much out there. And like I said earlier, on Amazon, some things you can get really inexpensively.
This was like probably maybe $29. It really wasn't expensive at all. Yeah.
The other place that we've used within networks so much is MaxiAids. It's maxi-aids.com. They were originally started a company to help people who were blind with various accommodating devices, but they've really spread it out, and it's like AARP really sponsors them and everything else. It's amazing prices, amazing collection of stuff. MaxiAids.com with a hyphen in between.
She also didn't want a hospital bed, but she really needed an adjustable bed. And we found an insert that was inflatable and had a remote control on Amazon.
Wow. How did it work, Diane?
It worked wonderfully. What it was, you plugged it in and it was laying flat under that first quarter or third of the bed. And she would put the remote on and it would inflate up to where she wanted it. And she could deflate it. And I was like, okay, you want an adjustable bed, but she didn't want an adjustable bed. And she definitely didn't want a hospital bed. And that was like wonderful for her.
Wow. I gotta
I
check
didn't
that
even
out. That's
know
really
they
cool.
existed.
Me neither. That's super cool.
Yeah.
And so much less expensive than an adjustable bed.
So much less expensive. And when we were done with it, there's a place in Langhorne by where I live that St. Mary's Hospital or something runs. And you can donate your equipment and they sell it at such a reduced cost to people who have a need and can't afford it.
That's even better. That's awesome.
So we donated all that stuff, but that was just such a wonderful thing for her to have. And it wasn't $1,000 adjustable bed, and it wasn't a hospital bed.
What's in the chat? Inexpensive battery operated lights, nightstand with a drawer to keep important items. Sometimes keeping items on the floor near the bed. Maybe you could decorate a commode. There you go, Chris. And then you said your phone has different alarms and you use different alarms for different things. That's cool. One thing that I started to do in our home, and I have them in the bedroom, is to switch out our outlets to USB outlets. so that when we're powering up our devices, we don't always have to say, darn, where's a block to plug it in? We just plug it right into the USB in the wall. So that's helpful. And there's all kinds of adaptations. If you don't want to mess with electricity, you can easily just go buy a multi-pronged device. I have one in the office here now too that has USBs on it. So you can do that inexpensively. How many people have like really high shelves that you can't get to in your closets in your bedroom? Just having stools around to be able to access things on high shelves in our closets in our bedroom. Or for people who are using a wheelchair, having adjustable levers on some of their poles in their closets. There's different types of companies out there that can create closet organizers for you. I'm sure they're all different pricing, of course, but they're handy. Or just having different types of poles available, just like they have in the stores to lift garments down off of high shelves and on racks. Those kind of things are inexpensive as well. Nancy Jo, I see you use your cell phone for lots of different things. I think most people use their cell phone. It's plugged in somewhere near them, right? We're using it for different purposes at night. It could be to help us to go to sleep and to listen to music, our alarms. It could be an app on relaxation. And I still have my Alexa. I know some people either love Alexa or you hate her, or Google Home, or the whole smart home technology that can help you. But it can be really convenient. It's a great way to wake up in the morning, to nice music drifting into your room. That's kind of cool.
For my mom's apartment, we did the extended light switches. They're light switch extenders. I found them through Maxi Aids, actually. She was convinced that she needed a nursing home, and I was furious. So she went to a nursing home. It did not work out at all. All the staff was telling her she did not be there. And we were finally able to convince others that she could live in an apartment and have a neighbor help out, some other help come in and all of that. We adapted her entire apartment for less than $500 with all kinds of accommodations and stuff. And one of the things I found that were, I think, $3.99, if I'm not mistaken, were these light switch extenders. And they were like clear plastic, I guess about 8 inches long, maybe, narrow thing that you would take like a switch plate cover off and you would put it on, and then you would put the switch plate cover on top of it. And it then extended downwards. And so rather than lowering all the light switches, it just made them lower for her because she was very short and she had really bad osteoporosis. So she was really hunched over. And then we put a strip of red electrical tape on it because that was the marker for anything that she needed to grab hold of or step over or anything was red electrical tape, because she could see that was noticeable. So this way she was able to operate all the lights in her place that were wall switches very, very easily. And we made a lot of the lamps light switches just so that she could do that with these extenders. It's very, very cheap, very, very easy. And we weren't changing anything within the apartment that we would have to undo later.
Mm-hmm. I think I've seen some of those in storage at Networks that we've had those floating
Yes.
around.
We had them as part of our AT library at Networks.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And in relation to someone who has some visual access needs, thinking about color contrast too, the paint and the furniture, and really thinking about it, even though that monochrome look might look cool, it might not work well for everyone.
Right, that foreground background, so things stand out.
Yeah.
Things that people need to access. Yep.
Yeah, and the decor and how they're accessing bedroom light switches on the walls, but also if you have a table lamp and how a person can access that. Is it through smart technology, connecting it to an app or some other device, and thinking a little bit more higher tech so that they can operate on their own, the switches and things?
Or even just a touch lamp. They're readily available now and actually work pretty decent. In the early days, it did not work well, but they work pretty well now.
Yeah, remember the good old clap on, clap off? That was the beginning, right? How many years ago was that? And we thought that was like amazing back in the day.
They still sell those?
I don't know.
Probably.
I have that commercial in my head. Clap on.
Thank you, Michelle. I do too.
The clapper. Yep. And thinking about too the flooring, like a high pile rug versus a low pile versus tile or wood flooring. Yeah, hard floor. whatever works for a person, knowing that you can slip.
Yeah.
And how a wheelchair might access, across the floor or get stuck, or all of those things are things to think about. So I have a few pictures to share, just some extra things. Ceiling lifts are so important for people who really need help to get in and out of bed, and maybe they're living with a loved one who is getting a little older or isn't able to physically support them. These are really valuable for those who need them. And there's so many different kinds out there. I did a search and there's many companies that offer these, but you can get things on Amazon. But I think with this type of technology, it's good to go with someone who knows what they're doing, and installation, it has to be right. You really need to get the right people in a house to make sure that you have it on the right kind of load-bearing walls and ceilings to make sure that it's structurally sound to do so. So this doesn't require some additional help. Chris, you mentioned barbecue tongs. Yeah, to reach things, absolutely. And they're so easy because you can even buy those at the dollar store if you had to, right? There's some things that we can get there. Oh, and they do sell the clapper. Nancy Jo, you shared a few photos, so I added them in. But clear pathways, we mentioned this. It's really important. And I see you do have a low shaggish carpet, right? That's easy to maneuver so you don't trip, but just a clear pathway. And not having clutter on your floors too is a big deal. I don't know how many of us are guilty of that, but making sure that before you go to bed at night, that you put things aside so that you don't trip on them when you go to bed, because accidents happen at night. My girlfriend got a concussion because she tripped over something in her room and woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and ended up in the ER. It could happen to anybody. A shoe was in the way and she tripped and didn't see it and hurt herself. So just something to think about. Clear your pathway before you go to bed. For me, it's where's the dog if I have to get up in the middle of the night. You can easily trip over a black dog when you're sleeping at night.
I always tell mine, wag your tail or something.
Yeah, it's a real thing. The dogs, they're in the way. And this is the projection alarm clock that Tracy mentioned, and I have as well. It's a fun toy and it's inexpensive. I think it's $20-something for this as well on Amazon. And I just searched for it, just looking like, I wonder if there is something. I bet there is. I didn't even know it existed. And there it was. So I just ordered it because I found myself squinting at my clock thinking, this isn't good. I don't want to put my glasses on to see what time it is. My eyes are not like they used to be. And this just works perfectly. And then Bethany, you had mentioned that you have a sunshine alarm clock, and that's a really cool feature. So there's a few of them that I was very quickly able to find on Amazon. Does anyone else have one of these? They're pretty cool.
No, but I like it. And I've also seen they have moonrise ones too.
Oh, that's neat.
Mine
Yeah.
has the ability to do both. So the moon will kind of put you to sleep at night. You can set it for like a half hour, and then the morning will wake you up in the morning. And
I
it's
love this.
it's like the soft white light for night, and then like the more yellow light to wake you up in the morning.
Oh, I have to check this out. I love this.
That's cool. Looks like we're going to be on Amazon or searching the web for some things, right? After this.
Jeff Bezos is thanking us.
And then, the smart home technology, whatever you use, there's a few big ones out there, but it can be helpful to help you to fall asleep, set your timer, your alarms, to play music to wake you up in the morning. And you can ask Alexa and Google and other things to do other things for you. You can have programmable shades now, so that you don't have to get out of bed. Hit a button and your shades will open or close. And that's helpful. So lots of things you can do. This is a whole other series, and it sounds like Networks is going to do something around smart home technology next year. So more to come on that. That'll be fun. And then there's the whole world of mounts. So many kinds of mounts out there. But the one I have here in a couple of photos, you can see the positioning of someone with an iPad, perhaps laying in bed, and they're not able to hold it, or they prefer not to hold it, and the angle of it, you can move it around and access things. I think this is pretty cool too. If you don't want a television in your bedroom and you want to watch a show before bed or something, just swing it around, and then you have like a screen right there that you can move and adjust the distance from your face and all that. So that's kind of cool. But mounts are good for so many different things. And I mentioned grabbers and different items that you can purchase that can help you to either access shelving or bring shelving lower for people to access. So you can see the picture. I think this is interesting. The guy in the left who's sitting in the wheelchair, and he's got that grabber, he's pulling down that lever so that he could access shirts hanging up. So that's kind of some cool technology, but the costs are going to range for sure. Some things you can get at Lowe's and Home Depot, and others you're talking going to Simply Closets and spending a fortune on them. Whatever your budget, there's something out there for you. Lighting was mentioned. These are a few photos that Nancy Jo shared that she uses, but lighting's important and how you want to use that if you need that. Definitely helps light a path at night. And shelf organizers. I don't have these, but they're pretty cool when you think about it. My first reaction was, oh, this would be great for dorm life, right? But for anybody who wants to have things close at hand, things that you use every night, maybe having a bedside table doesn't work best for you, or maybe you have a lot of things that you like to be comfortable with at night as you snuggle in, and you can keep things organized. So these types of devices, and you just put them on your walls, can be really helpful to stay organized and find things. There's also some that I've seen that they overlap on your bed. I've seen them for living room too. It's fabric and it laps over the arm of your chair or your sofa. The same concept for your bed rail. It depends on the bed design you have, but you could put things inside there so you don't lose them. How many people lose the remote? Where did it fall? And then you can find it. Any other thoughts? Anything that you all want to brainstorm, or any situations for yourself or people that are in your life, people that you work with that you say, oh, that might be something to share and ask about?
I was thinking of that person who's like the really, really active sleeper and moves around a lot and is at risk for falling out of bed and maybe doesn't want the side rails, but they're really physically able to get up and down, but they're just kind of not wanting that institutional look. One of the catalogs I saw, and it was almost like they might use in another country, where it's like a bed that rolls out onto the floor, and it's more like a really thick, cushy, pillowy mat type thing to sleep on, so that they could sleep and not have to worry about that. Someone might have a movement disorder, or they just might be a really active sleeper.
This just brought me back to my daughter in her dorm room in college. And she was in a room with a roommate, and they had the bunk beds, and she was on the top. And we had heard of someone who fell out and actually was seriously injured from falling out of her dorm room bed. So then my husband is upset because here, my daughter Laura, she's a freshman. And this is kind of cute. My husband's nickname for my daughter is Gooby. So he decided he was going to buy the Gooby protector. The Gooby protector was, I would call it a bed rail, but it was kind of fun. It was, I forget, I think it was blue. It was fabric. It wasn't metal, and it kind of fit under the bed and lifted up. It wasn't institutional looking. It might have even been more of like a toddler bedish type of a thing. I don't remember. It's many years ago now, but she used it for a while until she got comfortable. Then she was afraid, what if I fall out? She hadn't slept in bunk beds in years. Yeah, the Gooby protector. So I forgot about the Gooby protector.
That's very sweet, but a great idea. And yeah, I bet they do have, I didn't even think about that. I bet they have all kinds of stuff that are toddler related or whatever that you could adapt or use.
Her big thing was, oh my gosh, I'm not a kid, Dad. And he's like, but look at it, and she looked at it online before he got it to make sure she'd say yes to it. And she was like, yeah, okay, that's cool. That doesn't look weird. So thinking about the person and the technology or whatever it is, are they okay with that, right?
One of the inexpensive adaptations that I give to parents in early intervention is, if they're trying to move their child out of a crib and into a bed, I'll tell them to put the crib mattress on the floor so it's near the floor, and then get a pool noodle and put it under the sheet along the edge of the bed, so that if they roll against it, just gives them that little bit of feedback, like, oh, there's something there, and then they don't roll out. So, and it's just real inexpensive, easy adaptation to do for a toddler.
pool noodles are great for so many things,
Mhm.
right?
I'm
Cutting-
thinking they could work for a lot of people, I think. Even down the middle, maybe to separate people, somebody who keeps encroaching on your side.
Yeah. Yeah.
For corners too. Little did the people know who invented those, the many uses for pool noodles.
I've even heard of cutting them like to the length of a pillow and putting them in the pillow so that it's going right at your neck to just kind of give you a little bit of lift when you're laying on your side. I tried using a towel when I needed that. The towel just squished down, and then the pool noodle was just the right
Oh,
height,
love
you know, because if you think about the height between your shoulder and here, and then it's in your pillow and you just put it in there, it just gives you that little extra.
You're making me stretch my neck. I'm going to
Yeah,
do that as
I
soon
have
as we
to
get
get
off here. I'm cutting some pool noodles.
Well, and the dollar store has pool noodles very frequently.
I wish I could
Yeah.
send you some. We have many, many, many pool noodles here.
They probably multiply, huh?
I think they do. I think in the dark.
Show up. Oh, Chris, you said I remember playing Star Wars. Lightsaber, right?
Yeah. My
It's
grandson
fun.
used with swords.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh my gosh.
Jess, do you want to say something? You have your hand raised.
I had a question that I need some help brainstorming on, please.
Ooh.
Oh,
There is someone I know is residing in a nursing home. They are late 50s, early 60s. They've experienced a stroke on their left side. They've repeatedly fallen out of bed, causing various, no significant injuries yet, but lots of bumps and bruises. And now being fearful of going to bed at night, the nursing home will not put up bed rails because they say they are restrictive. So their solution was to put those thick gymnastic wrestling mats on the floor and put the bed up against the wall, but it still
Right.
leaves the other side exposed, but they refuse to utilize bed rails because they say they are restrictive.
I understand this. If the doctor orders it, I believe that it can be approved. The other is, what about pool noodles like Tracy suggested? But yes, this is very common that they put the big wrestling mats down below. Yeah,
Yeah.
and back it to a wall.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll even lower the bed all the way down. Could they try the chair trick there, putting the chair up against the bed, like Rosa had mentioned, and she did for her mom?
I suggested that that's restrictive because they're not able to physically move the chair themselves out of the way.
So would a lot of, I don't know, this nursing home or assisted living or whatever, but a lot of them use this as criterion for moving someone to more, I'll just say it, more expensive and more careful staffing, shall we say? If the person is okay with it, I would offer to be present with them for their next life support meeting and bring it up and or talk to the nursing home administrator or the head nurse. We need to do something. What are we going to do? Falling onto a mat is not the answer.
I have a difficult time viewing something as being restrictive if they can still get out of the bed. A bed rail, they can't get out of the bed because the bed rail's up and they can't put it down. But if you put a chair there, that's there to help them get out of bed and also give them that barrier to know that they're at the edge of the bed.
For licensure, if they put it there, it's restrictive. If the person puts it there, then it's not. But that's a licensure issue. And they've gotten so much stricter with nursing homes and things like that because of, they need to. It's usually deemed that anything that the staff do, if it theoretically restricts movement, then it is a restricted procedure. And they can only do that with a doctor's order or with, just like in many situations, only with peer review or something like that, a full plan. That's why I would take it back to the nursing staff and or the nursing home administrator. And with what are we going to do here? I understand your position, but what are we going to do?
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Jess.
I'm just noticing that we all had very different ideas of what we need to be comfortable at night and to have accessibility. So pops in my mind is just a reminder that any modifications that we use for ourselves or others are very individualized and should be really focusing on that person and not So if it works for me, then it must work for you. Now we have to really look at what do they want to be able to do during the night, how it helps with safety and ease of movement, and have it be very individualized so that we can be safe.
Tonight when we go to bed, we're going to be looking around our rooms. We're on Amazon before bed. Like, oh, yeah, let me check that out, right?
And, you know, all these things that we've talked about today, and we talked about the kitchen and the bathroom and the living room, they're all things that we're doing to make our life easier now, but they're all things that are going to help us be able to stay where we are for as long as we can. So it makes our life easy now. We'll hopefully keep making our life easy so that we can age in place. Because we look at adaptations as being across the continuum. And I know, Rosa, a lot of your examples came from your mom to help her to be able to age in place. And a lot of the things that we're doing for ourselves individually are helping us to be able to be comfortable and stay in place.
Absolutely.
Something to think about too as we all age. Where's our bedroom? What floor is it on? That's a big one. Dealing with stairs. Can we alleviate that? Not have stairs? Do we live in a one floor place?
Why we picked our house when we moved. I had neck surgery, and Doris had a situation where she broke her leg, and it was just like, you know what? If we're looking for a house, we have learned there are things that happen. Let's look for one floor.
Yep, me too.
I know that's something I'm considering right now as I'm starting house hunting, is like, there has to be a bedroom on the first floor. There has to be.
Yeah, it's an important consideration that not everybody thinks about.
And a bathroom available.
Right. That's
Yeah.
accessible.
Yeah, it's like you have to have the bathroom on the first floor too. You are thinking about a home for someone or an apartment for someone. We just moved my brother out of a third floor apartment after a stroke, and we looked for a place that would be accessible for him.
Lots of things to consider, but there's so many options out there. Now, Chris, I see you put in the chat. I remember watching a video with a lot of expensive houses and not liking them because there were too many steps. Yeah, definitely something to consider. Just a few resources, and this is just a few. There are so many resources out there. You know, I didn't add Maxi Aids on here, but that's definitely a good one. Lots of articles that you can read about how to redesign. Pinterest is a fabulous place just to get ideas. You can see specific companies that have Pinterest accounts, but just looking to see design ideas and then see how could I make this inexpensively? Where can I buy supplies? Who could I get to do something like this for me? Lots of really cool ideas from low tech to high tech and everything in the middle and in between. Cool things that are available out there.
Well, thank you all for attending today in the fourth of our series of Accessibility Think-A-Thons. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
See you. Bye.
Yeah, bye.